Okay, here we go. 4, 3. I don't know if anybody agrees with me, but I think American society is imperfect because we don't face up to a thing known as a racism. It started off right when Europeans came into this country and refused to absorb the American Indians. For example, the Massachusetts Bay Colony, where my ancestors were, 15 years after they arrived at Plymouth Rock, they passed a resolution: we must exterminate the Pequod race.
Did I say that we have recognized that our society is imperfect, and we're doing all that we can humanly do right at this point to change these problems? And I'm proud to be an American because of this.
Not enough to simply say society is imperfect. There's a black friend of mine, a singer, who wrote a song, "When one man's got a million and another ain't got a dime, that's when law and order is another name for crime."
Who is society? We want to know who they are.
Yes.
You know who society is to
I
me?
think we're getting a little bit heated. I think this might be a good time for...
Walking down death row, I sang for 3 men destined for the chair. Walking down death row, I sang of lives and loves another year. Walking down death row, I sang of hopes that used to be. Through the bars into each separate cell, yes, I sang to 1 and 2 and 3. If you'd only stuck together, you'd not be here. If you could have loved each other's lives, you'd not be sitting here. And if only this you could believe, you might still be reprieved. Walking down death row, I concentrated singing to the young. I sang of hopes that flickered still. I tried to mouth each separate human tongue. Walking down death row, I sang of hopes that still might be. Singing down death row, to each separate human cell, 1 billion, 2 or 3. If you'd only stick together, you'd not be here. If you could have loved each other's lives, we'd not be sitting here. And if only this we could believe, we might still be reprieved. Well, I suppose, Joe, you think I got off the subject, but I really believe you can't separate the problems of men in prison, the problems of rehabilitated prisoners, with the problem of the whole world. The whole American nation is going to be judged as criminals after this Vietnam business is over.
I don't necessarily agree with that, Peter.
I know you don't agree with me.
For example, we're falling out of...
It took about 10 minutes for me to get up that much steam. That's why I'm so a failure on television. And so I tend to walk out of the room when I get feeling bad. I'm not the kind of person who really knows how to argue. It makes Toshi furious. She just gets ready for a good fight, and then I walk out. Well, let's go down and have some lunch.
make, Hi. I'd like to make one thing again, like about the smoking. That, you know, the basketball courts and don't smoke us or the burn holes and stuff like that. If you have to smoke, you know, go outside. Okay?
Now that Marty's done the dirty work, I get to do the good part. I'd like to introduce a person who I've always thought of as a friend of mine, though I just met him this afternoon. As he wrote in Letter to Eve, if music could only bring peace, I'd only be a musician. It's with great joy I bring you Pete Seeger, the man of peace.
I don't know where you all are going to travel after you leave this place of higher education, but you may travel east, west, north, and south. It's great to travel. Some students end up perpetual hobos. A lot of them become exiles, and there's no need for that. Here I am, here I am, here I'll stand. Though I'm told it's stolen land, too long I've been a rover. The time for stealing is over. Here I am, here I am, here I am, till I have no more to give. Too long I've been a rover. The time for stealing is over. The song which I made it for Tina, she was the best audience I ever had because I'd stopped traveling quite so much, and I was home when she was a real little baby. With my other children, I was so busy traveling that I hardly got to sing lullabies to them at all. But with Tina, I just had a great time experimenting with all the lullabies I'd ever heard. And then I found myself one evening make up a... Gee, what an accompaniment for a lullaby. One grain of sand, one lonely star up in the blue. One grain of sand, one little me, one little you. That really should be sung at nighttime. It has about 15 verses that goes on, and it really works. And she liked it so much that even after she got so old that she realized that lullabies were propaganda songs, and she didn't really want to be sung to sleep. She wanted something exciting so she could stay awake. She still would allow herself to be kind of hypnotized by this. Oh, devil time, I'm gonna fool you now. Old devil time, you'd like to bring me down. When I'm feeling low, my lovers gather round and help me rise to fight you one more time. Oh, devil fear, you with your icy hand. Oh, devil fear, you'd like to freeze me cold. But when I'm afraid, my lovers gather round and help me rise to fight you one more time. Oh, devil hate, I knew you long ago. Then I found out the poison Now when we hear your lies, my lovers gather round and help me rise, fight you one more time. No storm or fire can ever beat us down. No wind that blows but carries us further on. And you, dear, oh lovers, gather round, and we can rise and sing it one more time. Well, here we are in a plane and we're bound for Nashville, Tennessee, where I've been asked to be on the Johnny Cash Show.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cash.
Hello, my friend. I don't know whether I want to go on and on. Because what can I sing? They won't let me sing about Vietnam. They won't let me sing about a whole lot of real problems that people face. They'll want me to sing Goodnight Irene on top of Old Smoky.
Yeah, I asked you to pick up your regular banjo and do one of your big concert songs.
Oh, could we change that for a big concert song?
Oh, anything. I mean, we're not locked into that. Sure.
Why don't you sit down right now?
And we get an idea where we're going.
John, you'll have to lead Pete into this day now. We have a lot of people out here waiting for him.
Take the fretless banjo and we'll pick a little on it.
What do you pick on it, Pete?
I only know about 2 or 3 tunes that they show up. And so you get these slides. Compromise, but I've been compromising all my life. I was kept off TV for 17 years until the Smothers Brothers let me on, and then they had such a big hassle over a song called Waist Deep in the Big Muddy that I didn't get back on again for another year.
The only argument I've ever had with the people that I'm contracted with, the Screen Gems with ABC, the only harsh words I've had with them, I don't know if you knew this, it's been about Pete Seeger. I said last summer, you tell me why I can't have Pete Seeger on my TV show. He's a good man. He'd show me a better American than Pete Seeger. Well, I wasn't in a position to demand a hell of a lot. They simply said that, my producer said, ABC said no. Well, we started talking about guests when we knew we were picked up for the new season. So I said, the first one you booked is Pete Seeger, okay? And he said, we'll call you back. We'll let you know this afternoon. So I said, well, that's a little long to wait to let me know. But they did. 2 hours later, they said, okay, he's going to be on the show. Well, now that I announced last week that you're on my show, I don't want it to hurt you or bother you, because it doesn't bother me. It's just I want these people to understand some way the crackpot letters that have been coming in, and there are quite a few, not a great percentage of the mail, but quite a few letters saying, how dare you, supposedly such a good American, have a communist like Pete Seeger on your TV show.
If anybody asks me, are you a communist? My answer is, says, if you think I'm a member of some organization which hates USA, which is trying to tear it down, you couldn't be more wrong. If I hated USA, I would have left it long ago.
Yeah. Pete, I've known you for quite a while. Many years, actually. And the Pete Seeger I know
And the Pete Seeger that June and I have come to love is, I'd say, one of the best Americans and patriots I've ever known. Yet, for some reason, it takes a long time to educate people and to make them understand.
Well, okay. That pleases us. I hope it pleases you.
Do I walk out to the center of the stage after
The
that?
camera will
right after that?
Right, on the applause. And Johnny will lead you. He'll set you up for that. Say, you can't leave. You have a bunch of people waiting for you. You say, I know.
I walk out and I put this down.
Right.
This up.
Right.
Okay.
Free form from there on there. After that.
Well, the key to the success of this song is whether or not I can get everybody singing with me.
You can.
And I think in that hall up here especially, it's got good live acoustics. Some television studio is impossible. Remember the trouble I had in the California music scene.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, we've got a special place out here for you, and I know how you like to get the audience to sing along with you. How about it? Pete Seeger, folks. An old song, maybe some of you know it. Takes a red man to sing a red song. Takes a red man to sing a red song. Takes a red man to sing a red song. Worried now, but I won't be worried long.
We are singing together. We get too far harmony on the verse. Like, you know the way I looked down the track, far as I could see. Little bitty hand was waving after me. I looked down the track, just as far as I could see. I looked down the track, just as far as I could see. I looked down the track, just as far as I could see. Little bitty hand was waving after me. Sing it now. He'll sing the words song. He'll sing the words man. He'll sing the words song. It takes a worried man to sing the words song. Worried now, but I won't be worried now.
Just keep going with that.
Well, if they're really going good, I say, sing it again, sing it again. I mean, just raise it higher. In fact, I've done it 2 or 3 times sometimes. It really gets higher.
Now, you want to stay in the same key all the time? You never go up?
No.
You were asking a question.
Yes.
Do you put yourself on the soundtrack?
Oh, yes, of course.
Good. I think it's a good idea to put yourself on the soundtrack. Well, what's your question?
My question was, what are some of the good things you've given Peter, and what are some of the bad things you've given? Let's start with the bad.
Well, there's nothing bad about Peter, except for getting bald.
The thing I'm proudest of was my father turned down a chance to become a businessman because he wanted to be a musician. His father said to him, says, Charlie, take over the business. When you're 40, you can retire and compose symphonies the rest of your life. My father said, He said, I'm going to be a professor of music, if nothing else. And he had a good degree from college.
Hi, Peter. Fine to see you.
What a nice welcome. But during World War I, my father went out to California. He was head, at the age of 24, he was head of the music department at the University of California. And a friend took him to the labor camps in the California lettuce fields. And he'd never seen anything like it. You know, people living like animals, dirt, treated, paid so poorly. And my father was shocked. You know, it was like suddenly he had never got the blinders taken off. He'd never seen the other side of the tracks. And he went back to San Francisco and he got up and he says, this is outrageous. Some fellow in the audience said, sit down, you lily-livered bastard. We've known this all our lives. You just discovered it. And my father went around to him and said, you know, you're absolutely right. I shouldn't have spoken out. But it seems the guy was a wobbly, you know, these old radical labor people. And he wanted my father to, well,
He was a professor. It wasn't practical for him to become a wobbly. But he really got me started. 30, 40 years ago, we used this kind of stove, kerosene stove, and you put the oven on top. But we couldn't buy them here, so we had to get some
It's a sheet iron, very light sheet iron. We used to bake all our bread and make all our casseroles in this when Pete and I were living down the barn at Patterson. Oh, say, I want some of those stamps. Can I have them?
Surely, you can have them all.
You know, Peggy's children are collecting them.
All right, here we are. There we are.
The same old thing.
Exactly.
Even down to the handles.
What these...
and the dial on the front?
Yeah. The Depression was an experience that made radicals out of everybody. We marched on picket lines and waved, and looking back on it, I can see so many mistakes we made. I weep to think of the mistakes we made. But I'm not going to apologize for it. And if somebody says, did you know so-and-so? Did you know so-and-so? I say, look, I've known everybody. So what? And this is what I said to that committee.
Brave men who died at Gettysburg, now lying soldiers brave, but there they stem the slavery tide, and there the faith was saved. Wasn't that a time? Wasn't that a time to try? Full of man, wasn't that a terrible time? And once again, the madmen came, and should our victory fail, there is no victory in our land when free men go to jail. Isn't this a time? Isn't this a time to try? The soul of man, isn't this a terrible time?
What does that song mean today?
You mean you heard it in court?
No, we didn't hear it in court. That's the point. But it was a big part of Peter's trial, that song. I can't remember exactly. How did it come up in the trial, Peter?
Oh, they said, did you sing the song, Wasn't That a Time, a filthy, scurrilous, anti-American song at such and such a place? And I said, I am not going to discuss where I've sung. I've got a right to sing any place I wanted, but it is a good song, and I'll sing it to you now if you wanted. But they didn't want to hear it. And even at the very ending, when the judge was sentencing me to a year in jail, I had a chance to make a statement, and I said, there's one particular song which kept coming up in the course of the investigation. I'd like to sing it to you. And the judge said, you may not.
I had the banjo in court, and then they clamped handcuffs on him and let him away.
Oh. I said, that's all right. Perhaps you'll hear it some other time. Maybe he will. Never can tell.
Hey, you know, I did sing Wasn't That a Time for a judge last week out in Chicago. They wouldn't let me sing it to the judge in New York 10 years ago, but I did get it singing judge in Chicago. Progress. I felt very satisfied, in a sense, that I had been able to keep singing all through the McCarthy period, in spite of the courts, in spite of the blacklist. It was students like you that helped me keep going. And it was a kind of a triumph, in a way, to be able to sing, as I did at Brandeis back in the 1950s, when nobody else in Boston was able to have me come and sing without getting clobbered some way. We should be complaining because what we know is not being spread around. Why, they say, oh, yes, you have all the freedom of speech you want. Right here, sure, I can say anything I want. If you go for a printing press, you can print it, too, but can you get it on the TV screen? Can you get it on the networks? I get it on Sunday morning. Get it off from some little educational station, perhaps. Can you really say what you want to? On the networks, in prime time? Of course not.
Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. And before this movement fails, we all go down in jail. Everybody's got a right to live.
What did you see, my blue-eyed son? What did you see, my darling young one?
babe with the wild wolves around it. Saw a highway of golden with nobody on it. Saw a black branch with a blood that kept dripping. Saw a room full of men with their hammers a-bleeding. I saw a white ladder all covered with water. Saw guns and sharp swords from the hands of young children. Hard, 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 hard. It's a hard rain gonna fall. Heard the sound of a thunder that roared out a warning. Heard the roar of a wave could drown the whole world. Heard 10,000 whispering, but nobody listening. Heard the sound of one person who cried he was human. Hard, 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 hard. It's a hard rain gonna fall.
Everybody's got a right to live, and before this movie fails, we all go down in jail. Everybody's got a right to live.
That was Reverend Fred Kirkpatrick, and here for WBAI's Ecology Day, and it's a rare honor and a pleasure as an old friend of Pacifica Radio and WBAI in New York, Pete Seeger, and with Pete is his wife, Toshi Seeger, and Reverend Kirkpatrick's here, too.
The rich people of the world have long been saying to the poor, why don't you ignorant masses stop multiplying like rabbits? And quite naturally, the people at the bottom of the heap have looked up with nothing but anger and say, why, God damn you bastards, says, you want us to limit our families. You don't like us. You want to exterminate us. Well, we're just going to have the biggest families we can. And frankly, I agree with these people because it's the rich people that are causing most of the damage to the world's environment.
Getting some sewage plants built is not going to solve all America's and the world's problems. But the people who live on the Hudson, if they find out that it is possible to clean up this river, they say, gee, it is possible to have a world which isn't full of smog and shit and all kinds of stuff. And once they realize that, then they'll move on to do the big job.
Like the old story, you know, the old man who moved mountains, you know the story? Yeah. A farmer had a big mountain near his farm that kept the sun off it, so he started digging it. And the townspeople all laughed, said, you're going to dig that mountain away? He said, well, the mountain isn't going to get any bigger, and I'll dig as much as I can, and when I die, my sons will keep on, and sooner or later, that mountain will be gone. And the gods looked down on him and took pity on him, and one morning he woke up, and they'd removed the mountain. And this legend, you see, applies to all people who